For the last week, I've been playing around with Symphony, and a lot of people are talking about token maxing, token maxing, token maxing, token maxing. And I think this is the closest to time maxing. I go in, I give it a task. It then I created an issue. Symphony then picks it up. It does a bunch of work here that's probably underestimated in this small blue square. GitHub then picks up the PR change from Symphony, and they'll drive towards this outcome. What happens though is that in this GitHub loop is that it will actually go bi-directional. GitHub will review it, and then the PR is ready to merge, and then it'll change the status, and then Symphony will go pick it up and just merge the thing directly. It's completely hands off. Basically, it's just a way of coordinating these agents from an issue tracker like Linear. So there's a workflow markdown file that's in this YAML format. It's picked up by the orchestrator, and it repeats and try and polls for requests. And then there is then this workspace manager and an agent runner that basically dispatches requests out so that the agent will go pick up the tasks that you assign in Linear. I'll show you in a sec. This I found just absolutely crazy that it will just start to work on a task. It's going to trigger a deploy via the GitHub action when it's ready. I'm not saying that the Symphony is the answer to everything, but it's really interesting to see these styles of work where you have old school is too this is human in the loop. And the human in the loop way is a very people are used to being at their keyboards typing without with Slack. It should be with Slack. I think people are just it's very interesting how crazy people start to prompt the models while they're working without Symphony. It's interesting how useful, how Claude, the GitHub pipeline or the Slack pipeline is in that process. And then with Symphony, it's you need a machine to run this, and you're more in control and you can probably produce more, but that still can bottleneck you further down the chain. Is probably the best way to articulate it. With that, let's jump back and see how we're doing on this task. So it's in a review stage right now, so let's go look at it. So this is this task that we were looking at. It's being completed. It's got an acceptance criteria. I moved it into review. There's a PR for it. So this has all my tasks in here, which has the backlog, what's done. So what I can do is I can just create a task in here. I'm going to create one here, remove, let's see, what's this called? Let's see. I'm going to just take this. Remove the entire golf map thing from the homepage. From the homepage. Okay. So another thing that it could do that it could queue up a bunch of backlogs here, and you could move it to, which is another thing that I didn't do with this, but I just wanted to experiment with Symphony and get some good, some better instincts on how this worked and how I might want to do this. So you can see it just picked up 101, which is this one. So Codex hasn't picked this up yet. But when it does, it's going to start to post here. I think Linear has live tracking, so this should just update. So you see Codex Webpad here has the state. It's just picked it up. It's now going to go through this process. Let's double check. You can imagine, I don't need to be watching this, which is absolutely awesome. So you can be hey, I'm on my phone, add a Linear task, boom. And then it'll just go through this process, create a PR, and like you can sort of like pick your poison, and I just find it like pretty nice. Okay, so like you can see this just updated, and now it's like removed the hero. It says it like on mobile, which is nice. It like has like screenshots of the change, and then like it's just gonna loop basically back through this. How I set this up is I ran this. This is the project and what it looks like. It has a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff in here. I just followed the guide. I ended up with a pretty different workflow. So I use Elixir as like Erlang, and Erlang works very well at parallelizing tasks. So like it's like pretty good for this use case. And then I just point it to this workflow. If I show you my workflow quickly, this is like very different from what you see. So the current, you can change in here like the polling and other things related to my setup. So for the agent, you can see I have like concurrent agents, the max number of turns that an agent can take place, the sandbox, just some instructions like, hey, you're working on this linear ticket, here's where my repo is, some operating rules, how to use linear, some repo context, which I thought was useful. So it's like, I have basically applications in this monorepo. I have a bunch of packages. There's like a bunch of operational stuff, everything I put in a make file, and there's like some light instructions to do validation in here on the front end. Default posture, some preservation policy, particularly on this like parallelization. I've been trying to work on this to like, how do things work together? So I spent some time trying to work on like conflict avoidance, and this like self-healing process when there's like some issue where like when you're trying to merge, there's an issue and you need to like go back in the loop. It is nuts. Some things that to remember about this that is really difficult is like trying to parallelize too many things at once is like actually pretty bad. So I would encourage you to like try and think about something different here. If you do try this. This is something that I'm still trying to work on, is like, how do I like give this like 15 tasks and make sure that they don't you don't end up in this weird state. Basically when I ran this previously, you'll see that I ran this on how many issues are like gone through this process. This shows let's see all. So like you have like, it did like 95 issues for me, but like one of the hardest problems with this was that it just like will try and work through the issues, but then like you have all of these merge conflicts that you have to figure out because it's like trying to do too many things at once. And I had to like really fight pretty hard to like get it in a good state. Yeah, hopefully this was useful. I think it's like a really nice way to manage work. I haven't quite figured out the fidelity here of like what goes into an issue and whether the granularity of like what the granularity of an issue is versus when like I wanted to like plan and be like in the terminal and try and build something versus when I just want when I want this to like just self go. I see it like useful for sort of like very small, like smaller tasks, like it'll just hammer on it, which is kind of nice. But for some of the larger tasks, I think it's important that you have like a really great plan to start with. So you do need some like back and forth with the model to build with context of the code base to build the plan. So it feels like there's like probably more work I can do personally to like learn more about how to put the plans in. But I did think this was super helpful. So like for the last week, it's been crazy how much like to get 100 PRs out really is about like sort of maximizing my time. But when you don't have a lot of time, it's like, how do you maximize that is really important to produce sort of the right outcomes. This does burn through a bunch of tokens, but I find it like very helpful to have something that I can just like go on my phone, write a bunch of things, and I know it's gonna like just like get this thing to production with like hopefully a bunch of rigor. There are different ways you could do this that I showed in this drawing about the like different options that folks can probably allude or think through and probably have their own ways of work. And I'm probably missing a bunch here, but I do find it like really nice, and I find it really nice to not have so much reliance on GitHub Actions to do this like code, to like write the code and have like some system to help manage that. With that, if you did spend any time watching this, I really appreciate it. You're a mother out there. Happy Mother's Day for tomorrow. All right, thanks. Bye.